about Intro to Traditional Staff along with Russell. I'm going to go over the basic moves that we covered. Russell did some things that I did not do, so I will let him cover those. But we talked about the importance of planes first and foremost, making sure that you always spin in parallel planes, which is very important to make sure that you do not injure your wrists. So if you establish a plane in front of you or in behind you, you keep it there. You do not try and go from in front of you to side and side. The first move we worked on was the drop spin, and that was basically holding the staff straight out in front of you with your thumb pointing up. You went out from whatever hand you're holding it in. I'm holding my right hand, so I turn out to the right until I'm uncomfortable and upside down. At this point, my left hand comes in underneath into the bird transfer, which is the most important transfer in traditional staff. It is the turning point on a lot of different moves. Remember, this is the bird transfer. Okay. Bird transfer, then you take the top hand off, my right hand in this case. Let it keep rotating until my thumb points down. As soon as my thumb is pointing down, I come over top with my other hand, my right hand in this case, and do what's called the clap or the palm transfer. Trying to do this exactly where your other hand was. In this case, I want my right hand to touch exactly where my left hand is. Then I'll move my left hand, and we are back to the beginning. So at full speed, that just goes dropping into the bird transfer, over top, and clap. Dropping into the bird transfer, over top, and clap. And now you want to also try that with your wrists locked, so that they just turn over each other. Bird transfer, clap. Bird transfer, clap. And of course, as with almost every object manipulation thing, you want to do both hands, both directions. Zoom, zoom, bird transfer, clap, bird transfer, clap. You can do this as bird transfer on the top or the bottom, as long as the clap is on the opposite. So if you do bird transfer on the bottom like I do clap over top. The next move that we worked on was figure eight, or it's called a two-beat sometimes. Basically, if the staff is straight out in front of you, behind you, we are now establishing planes in front of us and behind us. So the same plane we were just using here. We come down in front of us. Russell talked about using this as a paddle, coming up, and then letting it drop behind us. So coming up, letting it drop behind us. Up, behind us. Up, and behind us. Now this you can do in these planes here, and if you want to change your orientation, you can actually just move your feet. And now I am using the planes on either side of my body, but the staff has stayed in the same planes. So, in front and behind, on left and on right. And just like, as I mentioned before, you want to be able to do it with both hands. So, left, in front and behind, in front and behind, either side of the body, left and right, left and right. Now the important thing to remember here is that you want to open your palm when you go behind yourself. So here, opening the palm is very important. It allows the staff to rotate more freely, which also means you probably need to translate your arm from front to back more quickly, or from right to left more quickly. Putting together the bird transfer and this figure eight or two-beat, you can actually spin, do a bird transfer, spin, do a bird transfer. Continually changing which hand is leading. So left hand figure eight, change. Right hand figure eight, change. Left hand figure eight, change. Now using the bird transfer in as many places as we can, we would do what's called usually around the world. So you're doing a figure eight in front and behind you, and then you will actually let the staff drop behind you. You will do a bird transfer there and let it come out in front. To show you the transfer behind your back, you're going to do that figure eight here. Get a bird transfer ready. The bird transfer will happen right there. Your left hand will come underneath the right hand in here because you're upside down. And then you come back out here. Now this part, this side of it, the opposite side of where you're starting, so if you're starting with the right hand, the left side, is the reverse figure eight from what we were doing before. So the reverse figure eight, easier to start with it in front of you. And this one establishing planes again in front of us and behind us. The tip to your right is going to lead. You're going to push down and across your body. You're going to let it come up, making sure to open the palm again, and then bring it forward. So push down and across, let it rotate, and then bring it forward. Down and across, up, and bring it forward. This is the reverse of the figure eight that we were doing before. So technically, down and across, up and bring it forward. You could then go figure eight the other side, keeping it all the way through. So that one slowed down for the around the world. We come out after the bird transfer, bring it up, and it's the second half of that reverse figure eight. The reverse figure eight can also be done with those hand transfers, just like I did with the forwards figure eight and hand transfers. You can do it with reverse. It's easier usually to start that one on the side, and just as the opposite happens because it's reverse, we started regular figure eight, going across and then transferring. Here you're going to start by transferring. So bring it up, transfer bird, down and across your body, transfer. Down and across your body, transfer. Down and across your body, transfer. The next thing we worked on was 3 beats. So if we are doing a forwards figure eight, it is 2 beats. So 1 on this side, 1 behind you. 1 on this side, 1 behind you. If you want to add another beat, you add it behind you for forwards. So we are going to add it here, letting your hand continue until it is awkward and uncomfortable here. You're going to now let that right side and lead in front of you, sweeping down. And again, this is a very, very torquing motion on your shoulder, so be very careful with this. Try and turn your body with it so that you can kind of cushion that a little bit. So let it continue to rotate, curve out in front. On the left side, rotate, curve out in front. Rotate, curve out in front. That's forward. Reverse, if you are going to be doing it from a reverse figure eight on either side of you, like this, you are going to allow the staff to continue to rotate this time in front of you, because it is reverse. And the trick that I had mentioned was the idea of punching yourself in the chest and actually stopping here. This is where we want to stop. When we are in this position, the piece that is on the opposite side that we are spinning our hand with, so right arm spinning, so the left end of the staff is going to sweep down and behind us. And then you're back into reverse figure eight. Punch yourself in the chest, down and behind you. Let it come back out. Punch yourself in the chest, down and behind you. Eventually this should smooth out. If you open your palm right here, instead of punching yourself in the chest, you can just tuck it under like that. And with the left hand, reverse figure eight, stopping, punching in the chest, pushing down, coming back, punching the chest, pushing down, and then as one fluid motion, if you open that palm, let it go. The other transfer that we did behind our back was overhead. So once we do around the world, if instead of coming out here, like we like to do, if instead we do our bird transfer below, and then bring it up, think about patting your head and doing a bird transfer up here. So think about coming over, and you're coming on top this time. And you can actually do this over and over again. It's usually called a pinwheel. Patting on the head, dropping below us, patting on the head. Both of these are bird transfers. So the one on the bottom happens with the hand coming underneath. The one on the top happens with the hand coming above. So again, thinking about patting the head so that you keep your palm down. In the opposite direction, palm down, patting your head. Palm down, patting. Woo! That's about everything. Russell did some 4-beat and some 5-beat things, but he can fill you in on those. Thanks.
Greetings, I'm Russell. We taught intro to traditional staff this morning, Mooch and myself. So there's going to be a lot of overlap, and hopefully between the two of us, we cover everything we covered in the class. This is a staff. We started with the drop spin, or the rotor, which is one of these. Went into the basic figure eight, or a 2-beat weave. There's forward, transitions, and back. And then from there, we just worked on adding beats. So this is a forward 2-beat weave, or a forward figure eight. You can add extra beats to this at any point, and really it's just to impress your other friends that are also learning staff. Your random audience, it won't look any different to them, but it'll impress other people who also play. So to add the extra beats, in the forward direction, the extra front beat is when it's crossing from front to back. You don't cross it back, middle to back, extra spin into here, which I call the cradle. And then the finger end is what cuts from front to back. And you can keep on doing that. And it's nice and pretty. Word of caution, in this position, your wrist is locked out. If you don't move your upper arm, you're going to lock out here, tweak your wrist, and throw your staff on fire or otherwise into the audience or your adoring fan base. It takes a little bit of practice to match the velocity once your wrist is locked out to make it all look pretty and flowing. The additional beat on the back side of that to make it a match set for a 4-beat forward weave. Instead of cutting to the front with the finger side, you let that drop behind you for an additional beat. You get this kind of odd claw going on in the back. your arm's going to come around in a flat spin while the staff itself is still twisting in this orientation. And again, it's all about matching the velocity through the shoulder to make it look pretty. It's not going to feel pretty. It's going to feel very awkward for the first several thousand attempts. And then we have this, and it's also very pretty. You can then add a fifth beat, which is a half beat on each side. So we'll start in the front. Wrapping all the way around here to cradle, but you continue around. Instead of this head being the one that cuts from front to back, you're going to let that keep in plane, twist at the hips, and you're going to look down your elbow and at the back end of the staff, make a big old line in the sky, and end up behind you, dump out, unwind, wrap back up again. And again, this is not a natural motion. At this point, you've locked out your wrist, your elbow, and you're moving from your shoulder and hips. But your other friends that are just learning staff will be very impressed. There's also the reverse direction. This is a reverse 2-beat, or reverse figure 8. Cuts from the front to the back, with the finger end being the leading. Drawing figure 8s in the sky. The more you exaggerate your planes in the beginning, the easier it is. And then as you start to dance, you can dirty them up a little bit, make it more natural. To add beats to this, we'll start the front one first as well. Extra rotation into the reverse of the cradle. The arm is now underneath in your armpit. The head next to your fingers is going to cut from front to back. Go out behind you, dump out, and come back and rotate through that a couple times. This position here is the single best place I found to turn around and not interrupt the staff movement whatsoever. So say you're walking in one direction, in the reverse, and you're like, I've used my space far enough, I want to go in the other direction, right into the tuck, change your orientation. Your back's now to the audience, but you can keep on going, and the staff hasn't changed orientation, direction, velocity, or anything. Staff is still doing the same thing. So from the reverse, we're here, cut to the back. The extra beat in the back, you come to this bizarre kind of praying mantis thing. Again, feels awkward. Your wrist is locked out, your elbow's behind the staff. If you don't match the velocity, you might smack yourself in the head, but just a nice learn where the staff is, match the velocity, and it can be very floaty. The fifth beat for this one starts in the back. Cutting from back to front, it's a very similar motion. You let the beat go around an extra beat, you're watching your elbow or the staff end extra elbow, and cut from back to front. A nice arc. And those are the 5 beats. We also did around the world and pinwheels. You can go from the basic 2-beat weave. You do a simple back pass, go to the other side for a 2-beat on that side, front rotor for a beat, and you continue this ad nauseum. Or you can add more beats to it, make it look shinier, impress your staff playing friends, but an audience will always prefer the burn-off. Add in a pinwheel for fun, for even more beats. And that is our basic contact staff course. I'm Russell.